Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to tackle, uh, something that people were talking about on social networks. I'd say probably a couple months ago. I had recently done a video about the actress Taís Araújo, and it went pretty viral. It was one of my biggest videos in the last year or so. Um, but I wanted to talk about something else that came up with this actress, and this, like I said, this was a couple months ago. I'm just really getting around to it. A lot of times there's so much stuff that comes out and dealing with Black Brazilians, as just one blogger, one video channel. It's like I don't have the time to cover everything. I could use a whole staff just to cover the stuff that comes out of Brazil every day. Just specifically talking about Black Brazilians, there's enough stuff out there that I could probably create 20 channels, to tell you the truth. So wanted to tackle this today because I find it's a good counterpoint to look and see what's going on in another country, considering what we're seeing in the United States in the media. So today's video I'm calling "I Should Have Given It Up More." Actress Taís Araújo is criticized for talking about her intimate life with and before her husband. Actress also discussed her favorite toy. What's that all about? So let's get into this video. So this is one of the thumbnails that I found online. I mean, I'm going to let you figure out what this word means right here. It's pretty close to the English term, but for YouTube, I'm going to try to avoid saying this word. But whatever it is she's talking about, she said it is sensational. I'm going to let you all figure that out. I'm actually going to get into it later in the article. So let's keep this going. About a month or so ago, I posted a story about Taís Araújo in which she stated her belief that white Brazilians don't know how to deal with Black Brazilians unless they feel that they are in a superior social position. It's like they can't deal with Black Brazilians if they're on the same level as them. They can only deal with them if the white Brazilian, is on a superior social level. So for Taís, when they come across Black people who are not their social inferiors, the label of stuck up is suddenly attached to said Black person. That particular video went viral, but then a friend of mine that lives in the city of Belo Horizonte, the capital city of Minas Gerais state, asked if I had heard another interview. He sent me another clip from an interview, and I just had to think to myself, why? Okay, what am I getting at here? This is Taís Araújo with her husband, Lázaro Ramos. They're both she's an actress, he's an actor. I'd say they're the most prominent Black couple in Brazil. I would argue that she is the top Black actress and he is the top Black actor. He's actually moved into the director's chair as of late. He's directed a few films now. Now, I had always admired Taís. I remember Taís Araújo was one of the first, when I first got into the situation with Black Brazilians. I just remember receiving this glossy magazine. It was Brazil's first really successful Black magazine called Raça Brazil, and it had Taís and Isabel Filarges, another Black actress, on the cover of that magazine. That's when I became aware of Taís Araújo, and she was in the beginning of her career at that time. I always thought she was an attractive woman, a successful woman, and a trailblazer for other Black Brazilian actresses. I thought, as the top Black Brazilian actress, it was great that she was married to Brazil's top male actor, Lázaro Ramos. For a Brazil that didn't offer many successful Black couples, Araújo and Ramos offered a counterpoint to a Black Brazilian population that had always been taught to prefer white partners, whether they were rich or poor. So being at the top of her game, I wondered why she felt the need to discuss intimate details about her life with her husband and other thoughts that may not exactly be the type of example that other women or younger women really needed to hear. I guess it really all just depends on how you look at it. I know that there will be people who agree with how I see her declarations, and there will be others, also there will be others who will encourage her statements. So before I explore this any further and then share what or how a few Brazilians reacted, let's get to what she said, or a few of the things she said. Also, as I proceed, please do take the time to like, comment, and subscribe to the Black Brazil Today the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel. Sources for today's story include iBahia, the UOL splash page, and Bola VIP websites. So let's get into this. This is Taís Araújo dressed in white. So a statement by Taís Araújo has given people something to talk about and earned the actress criticism on social networks. The video of an interview given by the artist for the podcast Quem Pode Pode, hosted by actresses Giovanna Eubank and Fernanda Paes Leme, went viral on the web when the actress's opinion about her intimate relations before getting married. F word. Why get married at 25 years old? They ask, but do you regret it? No, not at all, because I have a very good marriage. But I was young. I could have given it up more. I tried to give it up, gave it up a little, and started dating. Idiot, recalled the artist. The statement yielded criticism and judgment for Taís on social networks. So the first comment says, yeah, crazy. Here I am wanting to get married soon, and she's saying that she could have had more sex before getting married, that it was too soon to get married at 25, etc. Okay, this definitely jives with what the conversation is in the United States, with a lot of women saying, they want to develop their career. They want to have some fun, maybe think about getting married in their mid-30s after they're settled. And actually, this is something that Taís said, just talking about her career and, what she has to do with her family, right? The next comment says, married women with kids, apparently fine with her marriage, goes on a podcast to say she wished she had given it up more. Next comment, it depends. The girl is already married and says she could have given it up more. Is a lack of respect for her partner that exceeds the scale of stupidity. My God, I feel so sorry for their husbands. I really do. They clearly don't love their spouses, let alone have any sense and common sense, says the next comment. What I would discuss at home if my wife said that publicly is unwritten. And then the next comment, may God protect my negro, Lázaro Ramos. He's going to need strength in the divorce process. His wife has already made it clear what she wants. If it continues, it's crazy. Will Smith, Lázaro Ramos, being humiliated by his wife on a national network. So this person is connecting what Taís said about Lázaro, or just about herself and her relationship with Lázaro. And they're comparing it to obviously what Will Smith is going through with Jada Pinkett Smith, at this moment. And for the last the last several years. So this guy right here is saying, okay, she's hinting. And I don't know, this is how this person reads it. Like he's going to need strength in the divorce process, as if he believes this is going to lead to divorce. Taís Araújo has said that she's happy in her marriage. There was a time when her and Lázaro broke up and then they got back together. They had 2 kids. So I don't know. I'm just, when I read the comments that she made in this interview, I was just a little taken back. Like, why does she feel the need to go there? Taís's name was among the most commented subjects on Twitter, and the artist received defense from some viewers. One person said, we hold on too much for fear of other people's opinions, and unfortunately, we only realize what we should have done years later. Obviously, everyone has a thought for themselves, but still, yes, it's not wrong to say that they could have done something else that today they don't see themselves doing. Okay, so somebody looked at what she says and they can see something valid in what she was talking about. Other people were coming for her. Like I said, this is just a few comments. A lot of people were going in on Taís Araújo for what she said. If the actress had stopped there, I think that would have been enough to turn heads, but there was more. In a previous interview given on the same podcast, the actress was very public with her private life again. Now, check out what she says here. Again, I got to be careful with what I'm saying because how YouTube views stuff. So she's talking about it changes people's lives. Taís Araújo opens the game, talks about the use of, well, you see the word, but I'm going to just say toys, and comments on her intimacy with her husband, actor Lázaro Ramos. Taís, the owner of an incredible and long career, revealed that she had already thrown herself into experiments with toys, including saying that she had indicated her favorite to her friend, one of the hosts of the podcast, Giovanna Eubank. I met Giovanna at Projac, which is global. Brazil's top television network is called Global, and this is one of their production studios. So she says I met Giovanna at Projac and said, "Don't you know about this toy? For God's sake, Giovanna, that toy is sensational. I already showed her how it works and the advertisement." Then the actress added, "I showed it to her on my phone. I don't usually carry toys in my bag." No. The actress detailed that the toy is shaped like a pig and even gave it a name, Baby. It changes people's lives. And I've already talked about it with other friends, she said, also sending a message to the men saying that the piece is incomparable. Forget it. She's talking to the guys. Forget it. No matter how hard you try, it doesn't work for you anymore, she joked. Okay, let me keep this moving. So this is the toy that she's talking about here. I'm going to just leave it at that. During the conversation, Taís Araújo also opened up about her intimacy with her husband, Lázaro, with whom she's been married for almost 18 years. She says, "We still do our thing. A lot, no, but me too, guys. I'm tired. But of course, I'm 43, so is Lázaro's," she revealed. So then, after Taís had opened up, no pun intended, about her life between the sheets with her husband, I wonder what Lázaro was thinking about this. After all, the previous article said that after her comments, his name started to blow up in social media. People were wondering what he was thinking about, what his wife was sharing in his podcast. I mean, I thought, how would I react in such a situation being a public figure? Would I simply respond, no comment to questions that I'm sure I would get? I'm not sure, but maybe Lázaro felt that since his wife had already gone there, maybe he needed to go there as well. So check this out. Lázaro Ramos appears on the podcast, right? And he talks about his wife and himself using this toy, okay? Listen to what he says. It really went in. Lázaro Ramos, 44, said that after 19 years of marriage to Taís Araújo, 44, it was necessary to introduce new elements into the couple's intimacy, such as that toy. The toy it entered our relationship, not literally in me, but it entered the relationship, said the actor in an interview with the podcast King Pode Pode. Creativity to spice up the marriage. After 19 years of marriage, I'm sorry, you have to be creative. You have to do everything. It's a long time. No matter how hot she is, no matter how cool I am, you have to come up with something to liven things up, he says. In addition to the toy, Ramos cited about going out to do with Araújo outside the house as an example of innovation, as well as talking dirty. He says, "We invent things. Sometimes we leave the house really because of the children. Since the pandemic, they're going into our rooms all the time. So sometimes we have to change, wait for them to go to sleep, put them to sleep, occupy other areas of the house." That's exactly what it's like to do the thing with noise, to bang a bed up against the wall, to say dirty things. He says he does his thing quietly, but sometimes I say things. So his wife opened up the can, talking about their moments on the podcast. And so then Lázaro goes on the show afterwards and just continues it. So he picks up where his wife left off and continues to talk. I don't know. Did he feel like he had to do that because his wife had already put their business out there like that? I don't know. How would you have reacted in this situation? So my thing is, I want to understand why it is that people in the spotlight feel the need to always provoke controversy. I mean, Taís and Lázaro are two of the most successful Black Brazilians in the media. So why the need to be so provocative? Do they feel like they have to say such things to remain relevant? Do they feel like such discussions are not a big deal since the public is so sexualized these days? I know some people will look at the discussion and see nothing wrong with it. There will surely be others who will say something like, "Men have been saying these type of things for years. Why is it a problem when women express themselves too?" Well, I would respond this way. Years ago, I remember when my cousins introduced me to music that had lyrics that I considered shocking at the time. It was the 80s, and I wondered, how can people say such things on a song? I mean, I remember when I was barely a teenager myself, and I would sneak off and hear comedy albums by the likes of Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Rudy Ray Moore. But in music, I remember the first time hearing Prince's Dirty Mind album, and after having heard it, I understood why most of that record simply wasn't played on the radio. They couldn't play it. I also remember the 90s when it seemed that every popular rapper had at least one sexually explicit song on their album. It seemed to be the standard. And yes, most of these songs were made by male rappers. But here's the thing. Looking back now, I understand that simply because rappers said these things in their rhymes doesn't make it the right thing to say. So when I ask how far will explicit content in music, movies, TV, and other genres go, it's not about gender. Although I will say that if the system can get women to accept it and reproduce it, the society will be in serious trouble. After all, women are the children's first teachers. So check it. A couple of days ago, when I saw a recent video in which a woman was at some type of party, she was bent over twerking with her backside pressed against some man's pelvis. And then her son out of nowhere popped up in the video. He's about 8 years old. He had to come over and push his mother out of the way. I mean, it was clear that the kid was offended by what he was seeing. It was almost like he was checking his adult mother for her behavior. I had to ask again, how far do we go and not say anything? And this doesn't just apply to the US. In Brazil, there is also conversation about the so-called mulher rodada, meaning the woman who has been known to get down with various men. There you have the same discussion. Women saying, my past shouldn't matter. Men saying, no man wants a mulher rodada. Who's right? Who's wrong? I also want to remind you that, how you have twerking in the US, down in Brazil, they call this type of dance, it's funky. It's the funk dance, okay? So you got some of the same stuff going on down there and people defending their right to be overtly sexual or even vulgar in some scenarios, right? This is a famous podcaster, YouTuber in Brazil. A lot of people don't like him, but like I said, we have to hear all opinions, okay? That's how I see it. He says, what would it be like a mulher rodada for you? What would it be like to be with a woman who's been around the block a few times? Okay, that's what he's asking in his particular show. This headline here says men don't like women who've been around the block. Okay. Then you got some sayings here. Okay, so this woman's holding up a sign that says my value is not based on my sex history. And so then the guy writes at the bottom, it says, if a pair of shoes has had 50 previous owners, the value of the shoes will diminish. This is basic economics, he's saying. So then this guy is right here. He's saying a woman who's been around is kind of like the rain you hear or the noise you hear from the rain. For sleeping is really nice. But if you go out in it, it's kind of complicated. Okay. So you see men are dropping their opinions about this idea. Here you have this man says, I don't deserve a mulher rodada. I'm an honorable man. I don't deserve a mulher rodada. He says a man doesn't like a mulher rodada. So all of these men are basically saying, okay, women can say, my past shouldn't matter, but then men on the other side, okay, these are the men who are going to marry you, and they don't want a woman who's been around the block a few times. Anyway, so you see some of the same thing they're talking about in Brazil, right? Well, everyone will surely have an opinion on this. So some people will think that I'm blowing this whole thing out of proportion. But societies never change overnight. It's always a gradual process. You introduce something that might be shocking at the moment, at that time, and you just keep adding to it. You just keep pushing the envelope until you get to a certain destiny, a certain area, and you look up and you say, how did we get here? There's a few American female rappers that I hear. I'm not going to buy their music, but I'm just like, how much lower can you go? What we have seen today in terms of widespread explicit content could not have been possible in the 1970s, but the 1970s started to open up that door for where we are now, 50 some years later. Today, it is the norm. Maybe what Taís Araújo said was really no big deal after all. Maybe you don't see her public comments about her private life as another addition to the overall ongoing decadence of society. But what if you're wrong? Anyway, drop a comment in the comment section. I'm definitely curious to know what you guys thought about this particular piece. Taís Araújo goes public and says, she should have done the do with more men before she got married, Then she's sharing her favorite toy. I'm like, okay, is this really necessary? Just my question, right? She's already got, she's already had an incredible career. I'm just trying to understand the necessity of going there. Okay. It's not like she's a new and upcoming artist who needs, sometimes people do these things for shock value to get their name out there, but I don't feel like Taís Araújo needed to go there. It's just my opinion. I mean, maybe you guys see this as no big deal, but I am definitely curious to know what people thought about this. Okay. Drop a comment in the comment section. Share this video, like this video, discuss this video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you've seen more than a few videos here. Consider dropping I don't know, maybe a super thanks, drop a couple dollars in the my cash app. That's Mr. Marcus 72, MRMARQUES 72. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and ask you all to come back and check out the next video that I put up.